Hello.
Hello and welcome to Developers, otherwise known as Devx5. My name's Ian. This is Chris.
Hey.
Today we're looking at Next.js.
Yeah, big one here. This is a very popular framework, and hopefully we'll find out why. And not be old men irritated with React. But yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to this one. It's been one of those things that I've wanted to try for some time. Have you ever given it a go or tried it or heard of it or?
I have been hearing about it nonstop. I haven't used it. I've looked into it a bit, just a tiny bit, but I'm excited to try it because this is one of those ones that's just been popping up on the scene.
Yeah. And the company is kind of known, or Vercel, previously Zeit, pretty well known for their bestowing the virtues of developer experience and hopefully practicing what they preach. They do make some other things, don't they? I think Next is kind of their big open source project, but I think they also have their own deployment platform. I know that. Maybe that's it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, at the core, it's just static site hosting, which is
Yeah.
kind of a funny business at the time. You're like, well, how's, doesn't S3 handle that? But they've really managed to provide a lot of value on top of just standard asset hosting and build processes. So
I think it's one of my favorite businesses, to be honest with you. I'm a fan of one of their competitors.
Which one?
Netlify.
Netlify. Yeah. One of my favorite companies or projects is Surge.sh, which is started just by one or two people and is literally just one command that uploads your directory to S3, and it's there's like millions of deployments.
Netlify does do that. It used to do it more, I think, and they've kind of encouraged people to move away from it. But I remember uploading some of my early websites in the same way. Just upload it by a web form. And off it went.
It's interesting to see how these have changed. Yeah, like neither of them really talk about static hosting anymore. Like Vercel says, developer experience with obsessive focus on end user performance.
Let's have a look at that.
Yeah.
Because they recently also opened an office here, which is interesting. They kind of just had a sort of a skeleton office for legal purposes, and then decided to actually add people as well. So it recently kind of grew big here. So that's the main business, is it? Push to deploy, get your preview URL, share and collaborate, etc. Yeah. But we're going to look at specifically at Next, which I think is one of those typical open source plays where they kind of use it to get ecosystem kudos and publicity and things like that. They list a few other things here, which I think they're very heavily involved with, but I don't think they're the originators of, like Gatsby. Oh no, Gatsby. Oh no, that's just them talking about it. Gatsby. They, I think, contribute a lot to Next.js. I think they contribute a lot to, so they're fairly active in the community. But how familiar are you with React, Ian?
Sorry?
How familiar with React are you?
Pretty familiar. I mainly use Vue, but I've been doing a lot of React Native recently.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
A little. I played around with Gatsby a bit in the past, trying to get my head around it, and always found it a little bit more than I needed. I then spent a bit of time rebuilding some game apps I was writing in React as an excuse to try it. And then the company I mostly work for, our web front end is in React, and I've been kind of learning a bit more of a production level React application through that, I think. But it's a bit all over the place still. But I kind of get the basics, so we'll see. Maybe you'll be the more knowledgeable one for for this.
The interesting thing about this is that it's server-side React.
Ah,
That's
interesting.
what
So it's
Next.js
kind of
is, yeah.
taking the node concept. Interesting.
Yeah, and the reason being is, well, one of the main selling points is that search engines have a hard time understanding React,
Yep.
especially if it's slow. So what you do is you render it on the back end and serve it statically on the front end. That's how Next started. Now it seems to be they're pitching it as a hybrid static and server rendering. So I'm curious to see how that's evolved.
Well, let's take a dig. Who wants to drive? Do you want to drive or shall I drive?
I can go for it. Yeah, I can.
You drive first, and I'll play around in the background whilst you're doing that. So.
Okay, let me just adjust my resolution.
I always love putting the Windows user out because then we can expose things that these Unixy type people never notice. Although it's got a lot better as we keep discovering. Let's see.
Windows is always there's always something with Windows. All right,
have you tried Windows 11 yet?
No, I haven't. I am actually about to purchase a new M1 MacBook, though. Not because I don't like Windows, but because I'm doing some React Native development, and I have an iPhone, so I can't really run it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're making me jealous, and we can expose a whole bunch of other potential problems with projects of the future for the processor.
The M1 processor, yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, so here we are. The React framework for production. Next.js gives you the best developer experience, all the features you need for production: hybrid and static server rendering, TypeScript support, smart bundling, route prefetching, and more. Which I think this is funny because this is really what we're talking about, the hybrid server side rendering, but React supports TypeScript already.
Yep.
Bundling, I feel like, is also already smart. This might be a thing, route prefetching. So we'll see.
Okay.
Here's some more. Oh, this is very cool. So it can detect an image on the back end and automatically optimize it. That's really cool.
For the front end, or so serve a different file. Okay.
Yeah. So since the image is actually defined on the back end, it can reroute to a CDN before it's served to the client. Analytics. Yeah. Some of this stuff is, it's kind of funny because, well, I guess we're just continuing on this old man phase here. A lot of these things are brand new, words, these are just new concepts in general, and it's just kind of throwing them all at you at once, which is
I'm intrigued by built-in CSS support, but it's backend. Am I not understanding?
That is going to be a theme here. Yeah.
Component level style, also components. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So I'm excited to have a chance to play with this.
What is bundling, out of interest?
I think bundling is what you talk about Babel and compiling JavaScript. And I'm not sure what they mean by smart bundling. Maybe because the backend routes, what they are, you can kind of serve them conditionally. But let's start learning.
Okay. Yeah, and I feel like, I don't know if it was Next or something else, but I have been through this documentation before. I'm not sure if it was Next or something else. It might have been Next. And I if you go up, I think you just scrolled past it. I've used it as examples before. They do this kind of slight gamification thing that I quite like.
Weird.
They show progress with the steps. And they also, in quite a few places, they have a quiz, but they also have quite a few places where they say, if you have any problems, here's where to find an answer, which I quite like. I think this is one of our many pillars we've discussed of this, this is a getting started guide. Let's just make it as easy as possible, but so many don't. So I quite like that, actually.
This is really interesting, this kind of incentive structure. It's funny that I can't tweet that I have 0 points. That's
see if I can tweet that I have 35, because I've moved on to page 2. Let's see. I can, yes.
Okay, so here's kind of talking about the problem, right? You need to use a bundler like Webpack or Babel. You need to do production optimizations like code splitting. You might want to pre-render stuff like SEO. And you might want to write some server-side code to connect to React to your data store. A framework can solve these problems. It also needs to have great developer experience, ensuring your team have an amazing experience while writing code. That is a great definition of developer experience.
Yep.
Enter Next.js. It puts you and your team in the pit of success. Okay.
Oh, what's this guy's name again? Jeff?
Yeah.
Jeff Gerlin?
Is this Jeff Atwood? Jeff Atwood. Yeah, I love him.
Atwood, yeah. I remember he actually used to be a lot in the Drupal space, which is where I started my career. I remember meeting him a few times at some Drupal cons, I think. I'm getting very confused with people.
Page-based rendering, pre-rendering and static generation, automatic code splitting, client-side routing, built-in CSS and Sass, development environment with fast refresh, API routes, API endpoints and serverless functions, and fully extendable. So like my argument here is like these are all client-side anyway. And so these are actually the value props, which I think are still solid, but it seems like they're kind of like, this seems duplicated. And I'm curious about these values. Let's just get into it.
Yep.
Free interactive course will guide you through the tutorial. And here is an example of final results. Let's open that up.
Yeah, that's also nice. I like that. Yeah.
Cool. And this looks like a really pretty standard thing. Let's make sure your development environment is ready. If you have Node.js installed, install from here. You'll be using your text editor. If you're on Windows, we recommended downloading Git for Windows and Git, which Windows subsystem for Linux. Okay, so they recommend WSL. So I'll launch up Ubuntu.
Cool. Here we go. Let's go wild.
Well, this is this is we might have talked about this before, but this is essentially Ubuntu running on Windows. The file system is mounted virtually, and we can go into development Unix, and we'll make their Next.js. Well, we'll just see what they say to do. npx create app cd. In the directory you'd like to create and run the following command. Yeah, okay. So we'll just make their Next.js cd next. And that sound will continue being made because it's Windows. Under the hood, this still uses create next app, which bootstraps a Next.js app for you. It uses this template through the example flag. If this doesn't work, please look at this page. That's kind of nice.
That's what I really like. I really like that. I like the fact they do that.
This is just like a. Oh, is this a list of? Oh, okay. That is. It's just like this random repo, random markdown file. Okay, run.
It's better than nothing, which is what you.
It is nice. It is nice. I'm entertained by where this exists. And this is something that I think we see a lot in these demos. Is like people don't know quite where to put the docs and the examples, and you end up with these. Yeah. Okay. So great. Next, just cd directory to create the API and run the following command. We've done that already. Okay, run the development server. cd Next.js blog. And npm run dev. Localhost 3000 using Webpack 5. Reason. Enable. Oh, that's cool. Why are we using Webpack 5? Yeah. Okay. What else happened? Compiled successfully. Compiling again. Compiled successfully. Attention. Next.js now completes an anonymous telemetry regarding usage. This, I think we're going to see more of this too.
That's really odd. I didn't get that message.
Maybe. Okay, so it's running at localhost 3000. There it should be. It's compiling again. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we have our app. Still don't quite know what do you see on the page? Oh, okay, so this is to verify for them that it's that you actually did it.
I think you can continue if you don't answer, but yeah, it's
see a page like this. Okay, yeah, we saw that. Help is available. Okay. Cool. And they're using GitHub discussions, which is another kind of new thing.
That's a good idea. I don't know why more people don't, to be honest with you, but that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah. Maybe we can have it on GitHub discussions. Now I'm at 50 points. let's try to edit the starter page. Let's see. Let's say it says, make sure the Next.js development server is still running. Open page index.js with your text editor. And I will just do, I don't know if this works here. On WSL. Yeah, there we go. Yes. Oh, boom. I think I have enabled restricted mode. This is some new VS Code stuff where it for some reason doesn't trust your own file system. I haven't really figured that out yet.
I don't really understand the feature, but that's another discussion.
This is my hard drive. Like, why are we not trusting this? Okay, so here we are within our Next.js project, and we're going to edit the text that says welcome to and change it to learn.
Yeah.
Now, if this is, okay, we're going to run dev again. I will use some fancy window snapping features here. Okay, there we go. So it updated. That's pretty cool. Yep. As soon as you say the file, browser automatically updates the page with new text. Has fast refresh enabled. When you make changes to the files, it automatically changes. No refresh needed. This will help. This is very well done.
It is. It's very clear. I realize now I have done this tutorial before, so I'm remembering things about it. It's very impressive. I mean, yeah, let's see what time we have when we get to the end, because that's always the thing. It's what do you do afterwards? But so far, this is a very good tutorial. Yeah.
We will make a new page using file system routing, learn how to use the link component to enable client-side navigation between pages. That seems complicated. Learn about built-in support for code splitting and prefetching. I still don't know what code splitting is. Curious about what that means. If you're looking for detailed documentation on routing, check out the routing documentation, navigating between pages. If you're continuing from the previous lesson, you can skip this page.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Huh. Never seen, I understand that, but I've never seen that in docs before, but that's smart.
You can kind of do it with something like prerequisites or something, but
that's true. Yeah. I guess the CTA, the actual button, was interesting. Okay, in Next.js, a page is a React component exported from a file in the pages directory. Pages are associated with a route based on their file name. Thank you. Very happy about that. And we're here with index.js serves that, the single slash, which we know that. Pages posts, first post, associate post, first post, route. Okay. We already have the pages index, so let's create pages post, first post. Pages, and then we're going to make a directory, posts, and then we're going to make a new file, first post. See how it works. Create a new blah, 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 create a first post, and then we're going to make our React component. Wow. So we're actually making a web server using React, and it's, so I use this framework called Sales.js often. Okay. And this is, it's kind of like Rails for Node.
Rails for Node.
Yeah. So it's essentially,
I thought that was Express. I don't know.
No, well, Express is pretty freeform. This actually, you define a lot of, you're basically defining those routes and routing them to controllers, and it's MVC style with ORMs, for your databases, you can exchange the database and stuff like that. But it's interesting to see these two comparisons. My question is now, how do I access the database? Can I call a database in this? First post.
Yeah, probably. I would think. I mean, it'll probably leverage a lot of the pre-existing Node/React ecosystem to do that, I would guess. But maybe that will come somewhere. I don't know. We'll find out.
So now if we go to localhost 3000, cool. I like that this is hot linked.
Mm-hmm.
You can now create different pages in Next.js. Simply create a JS file under pages directory, and the path to the file becomes a URL path. Okay. This way, this is similar to building web pages, HTML or PHP files. Yep. Let's add a link to the newly added page, which like people running this tutorial, like, again, we're old men, so like, I don't know if the young JavaScript people even know what this is, like how that works.
Or
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that language that runs at least a third of the internet. I don't know. Anyway,
Let's add a new link. Let's add a link to the newly added page so that we can navigate it to it from the home page. If you want a new directory authors me, what would it be? Pages authors me. Oh, there's a UI problem. Submit. Nice.
I think it's optional. That's why, which I kind of like.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking this is stupid, but if I select this and hit next, it should automatically submit that thing. Just because.
I don't know. I think I could see an argument on both sides of it. I don't know. I kind of like what they've done, to be honest with you, because you're not forced to answer it if you're just like, oh, come on, I just want to get on with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of cool because it's somewhere between an LMS system, like a learning management system, and Docs. Yeah. When linking pages on a website, you can use the A tag. In Next.js, you use the link component from Next link to wrap the A tag link. This allows you to client-side navigation of different pages in the application. So this is actually sounds crazy because you're like, why would we get rid of this thing that has worked on the internet, the core part of the internet forever, right?
Because
but when you look at React Native, touchable. So React Native actually went ahead and they're like, since we're doing with mobile, there is no link. And so in React Native, like this is how you do a link. You do on press, and a view is a div. And so what's happening here in general, just in this time frame, is like we're actually just like kind of rethinking what the core XML components are. Like they're saying, no more anchors. Like we're just gonna go with links.
Yeah. It is interesting. Actually, the next page is mentioning something that I'm now. I think is where I find it fascinating because it's like the browsers have kept up with this custom components. I think that's what I just want to clarify.
No, it's actually, so it is rendered into something that the browser can consume usually at the end, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Open pages index and add the import link component. Okay, I already. So import link from next.link. Find the H1 tag that looks like this and change it to this. So I'm guessing it's that one. And all right, add the empty space, which is used to divide text over multiple lines. That is funky. Next, open pages post, first post and replaces contents with the following. All right. As you can see, the link component is similar to the anchor tag, but instead of anchor, it uses link and put an A inside. Let's see. Oh yeah, well, like you're saying, anything within, you can basically define any component now.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's
yeah.
Good. So you put link and then an A, huh?
So what does this actually? Yeah, what does this actually look like in the DOM? Yeah, so it's rendering into an anchor.
I mean, I'm sure, I know in React anyway, there's definitely a way where we probably could have not had to add that A. I'm not sure if there's a reason for that. I don't know.
The link component enables client-side navigation between two pages in the Next app. Client-side navigation means the page transitions happen using JavaScript. Here's a simple way you can verify it. In browser developers tools, change the background CSS property to HTML to yellow. Click on the links to go back and forth between the two pages. You'll see the background yellow persists between pages transitions. This shows that the browser does not load the full page and client-side navigation is working. Oh,
this is where this code splitting comes in play. Yeah.
If you use anchors instead of links and did this, the background color would be cleared on links because, okay, that makes sense. So this is just It's like it's kind of like a single page app, but not.
I suppose. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, it's behaving like a single page app, and we'll
Yeah.
see how it loads information, because that's what we're getting into here. It's each page only loads what's necessary for that page. That means when the homepage is rendered, the code for other pages is not served. This means that the homepage loads quickly, even if you have hundreds of pages. Only loading code for the browser page you need means for the request you need means the pages become isolated.
It's strange because when you get to this summary, I find this kind of interesting because this is like the link component kind of becomes like a route basically. Because if you see there, if you need to link to an external page, just use an A tag because there's no route to be aware of as an external link. If you need to add attributes, add them to the A tag. So it's a weird bit of double handling, but it's kind of, I think it's in Express or something like, or Rails, you put routes somewhere else. Well, that's what you used to do when I last looked at it anyway. Whereas this is like, it's kind of saying this A tag is a route. It's sort of where, React always does this putting everything in one place, which sometimes is odd, but yeah, it feels like it's double handling, but it's defining it as a route. So Next.js knows it's a route and then does its magic, I guess. I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. It's basically, well, the routes are defined by the directory structure, and the link tag is basically just intercepting the click and telling it not to redirect, but to re-render the page.
Yeah.
Instead.
Yeah.
This is interesting because it's like what you're saying here is if you want to edit the anchor tag with target blank, you actually have to make another component.
Yeah. I get the impression there may be a consolidated version of this, but they're just not showing right now. Maybe. I'm not sure. That's an assumption. Because it would be simpler, but maybe they're going down the path of showing people the most verbose way so you learn the concepts. I'm not sure. I might be wrong, but I feel like this might be what they're doing, in which case I think that's a good idea, but...
The second page we added currently does not have styling. Let's add some CSS to this style page. Built-in support for CSS and Sass. For this course, we will use CSS. The lesson will also talk about Next.js handles static assets like images and page metadata like the title tag, which we'll learn in this lesson. Prereqs, basic CSS. Okay, start now, setup. Can I tweet my... Yeah. Okay. If you're continuing from the previous lesson, you can skip this page. Okay, download starter code optional. Done this. Next.js can serve static assets like images under top-level public directory. Files inside the public can be referenced in the root of the application similar to pages. Public directory is also useful for robots.txt, Google site verification. Download your profile picture. Download your profile picture in... Okay, that's kind of funny that they're like, hey, just use your profile photo that you definitely have. We'll just download this photo.
Retrieve it from where?
Yeah.
What the heck? What? I think I skipped past that. Download your profile picture. My profile picture from where? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit confused by that, but anyway.
Yeah, maybe it could just say, use your Twitter or something. Create an images directory inside of the public directory. Okay, public, new folder, images. I've put that image. I thought I put that image in here. Maybe I put it somewhere else. The image size can be around 400 by 400. You may remove the unused SVG logo file under public. Okay, I see. And we'll just download this into, I'll download that file again because I somehow saved it to the wrong spot.
It's interesting as well. There's one slight oddity. It says to save the picture as profile.jpg, but the file is profile.jpeg, which is a minor thing, but yeah.
Let's see. Delete. I don't know. I've been getting these zone identifier files with JPEGs recently. I don't know what that's about either.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, neither do I. It's kind of funny having the system change as without any updates or whatever. Like things on the system just start changing. Okay, it could be around 400 by 400. If you were to use regular HTML, you would add it like follows.
Yep.
So what I think they should do here is actually not let me select this. This should be disabled because my instinct was to copy and paste this into my thing.
It says it a couple of times, actually. There's another one further down where it says, don't copy and paste this yet, because that's always what programs will do, is copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste.
I think,
I mean, I don't know. It's not really their fault, but...
I think in general, we're going to start seeing documentation seem more like applications where like they're going to think of this as an interaction rather than document, you know, like as if this is an app that and like the documentation should be an app that I as a programmer am using. And like, this should be an input field that I'm not allowed to use.
So actually, interestingly, when you get your M1 Mac, have a look at the Swift Playgrounds. That's kind of what that application does. It's a completely wrapped application that does interactive learning all kind of in one application. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's also the other thing is you don't want it to be like turn into a game, right? Like a like a block-based builder, but yeah. However, this means you need to have to manually handle ensuring images responsive on different screen sizes, optimizing images, a third-party tool library, only loading images when they enter in the viewport, and more. Instead, Next.js provides an image component out of the box to handle this for you. This is really cool. And there's a lot of businesses that are based around CDN optimization.
Yep. Including
right? And
Vercel, I think.
Yeah. So this is a real, like, this is like really close to the metal optimization that can happen on your own, you know, in your own server. So it's kind of bringing that back to your control. And I think it's a real threat. I would say so. Next.js also has support for image optimization by default. This allows for resizing optimization serving image monitor formats like WebP when the browser supports it. Avoid shipping large images to devices with a smaller viewport. Okay, cool. That's also very cool too, because I'm not sure if those other CDNs can detect things like the viewport size.
Yeah. Yeah.
Using the image component.
So here's another interesting aspect that I find a little odd, because it talks about this image component, but then says don't copy and paste it, we'll use it in publishing layout, and then goes on to another subject. And I find that one a little odd. It's kind of like, I was just getting excited about images.
Yeah,
see what an image looks like. I don't know.
I'm very invested in images right now. I've copied it over. Yeah. Like, I want to display it, you know, that's what I think. And
that
like,
one is a strange one. So far, I've been very impressed. This page is a bit confusing. It's kind of like, hang on, why am I moving on now? But apart from that, very impressed so far. But that's the one.
Cumulative layout shift. Have you ever been? So this is saying it's avoiding cumulative layout shift. What? Are you following this?
You've got off into the research section. I saw that, but I haven't really followed along.
Well, I'm curious. I mean, if they're selling me on, you know, like, hey, this is why you want to use Next.js, you're going to avoid cumulative layout shift. It's
but it's not their thing. It's a Google thing. You know, it's not really.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's not their thing.
I didn't know I had this problem. You know,
you don't have to understand it. You just chose to go and look into it.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of optimizing for these Google Web Vital things now, right?
Makes sense. I mean, it's kind of sad, but it makes sense, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay, so don't copy and paste this thing because we're not going to do that yet. To learn about image optimization, check out the documentation. What is next image? Oh, I wanted to get a good grade, right? Come on. Resizing and optimizing. You're
failing.
I just want to brag about my points on Twitter. They really got me with this. I think I'm going to start my own little SaaS. That's just a point-based.
I'm pretty sure you're not the first one, but anyway.
Okay, what if we wanted to modify the metadata of the page, such as the title? Okay, so my image is just sitting there.
Yeah, but we'll come back to that.
Okay, thank you. I'm worried about it. Title is part of the head tag, so how do we modify the head? Open pages index in your editor and edit the following lines. Okay. Also, why is there no copy button?
That's a good point. Yeah. Documentation is open source, Ian. Off you go.
Is it?
Yeah, I think. I thought it was.
Notice that the head
Yeah.
is used instead of the lowercase head. Head is a React component built into Next.js. It allows you to modify the head of the page. You can import the head component in Next.js head. Adding head to first post. We haven't added title to our first post. Let's add an open first post, add the head, import the head. Whoops. Import head. Then update the exported first post component to include the head component. For now, we'll just use the title tag. Okay. By accessing this in my browser. First post. Okay, the head was updated. Cool. Okay, want to use lang. You can do so by creating a, if you want to customize the HTML tag, for example, add the lang attribute. You can do so by creating a pages_document file. Oh my gosh. Okay, custom document is used to augment your application's HTML and body tags. They've reinvented front-end development. Like,
I think React's kind of did that first, but yeah.
Well, React doesn't. This just goes so far, and it's on the back end that it's really just another. I think I see it as a whole other iteration.
I'm still personally I'm still trying to understand the where React stops and Next starts, but because mostly we're doing sort of front end here.
Yeah, that's true. We are just kind of learning React, aren't we?
But that's
okay. Yeah, we know. That's a good point. Why don't we kind of skip ahead and see if we can get to we can get past learning React, right? If you want to create a blog, here's the desired result, but so far we've added no blog content. Okay. Let's just look. I'm actually going to diverge and just start reading and looking at this stuff because you're right. Next.js pre-renders every page. That means Next.js generates HTML for each page in advance instead of having it done all by client-side JavaScript. Pre-rendering can result in better performance and SEO. Generate HTML is paid necessary for a page. 2 forms of pre-rendering. Okay, we've read about this before. Wow, it's a lot of examples. Static generation without. Okay, I mean, I understand this, right? What was your question specifically? Like, what does Next.js do?
Yeah, what does it add to React?
Yeah, my question is kind of similar. Where do we host this? Like, let's like put this in production, right? Like what? Yeah, like is Next.js just a node server in the backend that is operating these things? Like, why don't we dive into that? Contributing issues, GitHub discussions, learn. Like, what is the entry point? Wow.
All right. You wanted to look at data, didn't you? Actually, there is
data.
Yeah. So inside the tutorial, there is using data from Markdown files, which is very obviously a data structure. But yeah.
I'm curious about what you're saying. What does Next.js do, right? And so I feel like if we look through this repository, we will find a node script that like is actually serving the page somewhere. I don't know exactly where this would be though. Scripts, like packages, examples, errors, docs, bench. So like, let's just look for like .js. Is that 2? No, not in packages. I'm just gonna look for server. Okay, here it is. So it's another. Okay, they've chosen a mono repo. And so here we go. This is actually Next.js. The package is next. Let's see. And so when you talk about what is bundling, this is bundling is. It's Babel compiling the assets.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's dig more into the server. Okay, image optimizer.typescript. Wow. This is cool. So it's essentially, this is what's going to handle those image requests when you use that component.
Have you dived into the Next.js code?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
We asked, what does it do? Yeah, right. You said, what is it actually doing? Because it's all front end React, right? And really, what's interesting about this is like, you're just going to learn React through this process and learn about the benefits of using Next.js, but the Next.js is like, you're not really going to configure it that much. You like, it's so front end focused that the back end is almost given to you, right? Like kind of magic. And so like you're saying, it's hard to understand what it does because it's.
I think because I've dug into the data pages, and I think it's interesting because you can fetch data definitely that is then served. There's a markdown one, but then if I look at a lot of the data examples, it's mostly kind of content focused, which is interesting. I'm wondering, is that primarily the use case? Like, what if I wanted to fetch sales data or user data or something like that? That's where, because it's it's contentful, strappy, it's all CMS content.
I think
that what it's aimed at, not kind of a more generic application.
Well, they're coming from they're coming from Gatsby. So this whole space is defined from this core problem, which is that marketing has to bug developers to update the website.
Yeah.
And that's how we've ended up here, basically. So if you look at something like Contentful, they basically have they're trying to solve the same problem, giving marketing the ability to publish articles and then giving developers the ability to like actually customize those instead of using WordPress. So because of that problem, that's where Gatsby started taking off, and also some of those other like Jekyll and Gatsby and those other static site renderers started taking off. Then the main hosting of those sites were like Vercel and the one you mentioned earlier, I forget the name of it, Netlify. And so then Next.js is essentially saying, okay, that's really great. We want to go more than blogs, right? Like, how do we get further than blogs? And also, like, these static site generators aren't really great for SEO, and they're missing all these other parts. So the context is like, they're coming from those examples, but they're like you're saying, you can probably do some complex.
I think that was a dumb question. I kind of know now, because I know with Contentful and things like that, you can create other data types. I think it's that concept of it doesn't look like you can connect to a conventional database. It's some other kind of thing. Although I get the impression there's probably a way to connect to GraphQL or something, because that's kind of what this whole world is part of.
So you can see even in this, like, let's look at this, like, okay, data fetching, I found authentication somewhere. Where was that? So when you get to authentication, data fetching strategy, blah, blah, blah. It got to be, that's not what I wanted to look at. There was like a bring your own authentication here, bring your own. There's only 2 examples here. So this is, again, it's really early for this. Right? Like,
okay, so
it's not saying, oh, here's Passport, right? That's pretty cool. Next.js examples with Passport. Okay, where do we look? The example, the database is not included. You can do any database you want included in this file. So this is just standard Node. Hooks, auth cookies, user. And how popular is this? 13,000 forks and 71,000
It is pretty
stars. Wow.
popular, yeah.
Yeah. Upgrade to Prettier 2 16 days ago. Yeah, this is heavy, right? Heavy development, heavily used. Okay, so you're basically just modifying a node server. My question is, how do we protect it? Cool. So what you're doing is defining a React component that tries to get the user, and if the user doesn't exist, sorry, it's a hook to get the user, and if the user doesn't exist, it's going to redirect you to login, and this is all you need to do to protect the page.
Okay.
And the hook looks like use user data equals use. Okay, here's that call to API user. Very cool. Fetcher. Huh. What do you think about all this?
I think I'm thinking because, I mean, I have use cases that are more in this domain of static site generators. I'm still using Jekyll for my main website. I have been thinking of overhauling it in Jekyll, but I'm kind of like, maybe it's time to switch to something else.
Yeah.
And I have other projects as well. But I'm still contemplating if I need the server-side aspect of a static site generator is enough. That's what I'm trying to understand. Like, do I need this server-side component?
You know what's interesting? That the need part is good, and looking at content and blogs as an example, because who needs search engine optimization, right? Content sites. So if you're making an app like say you're making Airtable, you don't care about SEO optimization.
Yeah.
So you might not ever choose to use this.
But yeah, that's the bit I'm still stuck on. It's like I'm not really sure what the server side is, apart from, is it just that the processing work is happening on server side?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The React is interpreting the code on the server side and sending the output to the front end. Yeah.
So that's it. Okay. Whereas React on its own would normally just bundle something you then load, basically.
Yeah, be interpreted on the front end. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see if we can deploy this.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Caching include. There's something about this that makes me uncomfortable, and I don't know if it's that. I don't know what it is.
What do you mean?
Like, I think the fact that they're like, I don't know. There's something like about redefining everything in different files that, like, I don't know if it's because I'm like, again, an old man, or like it's just so new. I'm like, I don't understand it or something. It's something about it.
It makes it easier for development, I suppose, in some ways, but I don't know how realistic a use case that is. Like, how many times are multiple developers trying to change the cache control setting? I don't know, but yeah.
In React Native, they do a lot of this too. And what I found is that it's so structured. It seems like hard to hack on it or something, because the things have to go in a specific place and it's not open to interpretation.
Yeah.
So then it gets hard. I guess my question is, like, how would I make a dynamic cache control if I wanted to? Like, if I wanted to have certain routes have a different cookie, have a different cache max age, right? That's my
kind of what I'm saying. Have different files and import different files, I guess.
I think what this is saying is that there's a defined file that has a cache control header that is global. So I guess what I'm saying is it's taking strong opinions on this stuff, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, but many do. I mean, Rails did as well, to be fair.
Oh,
So,
nope,
yeah.
it doesn't. This value is considered fresh for 10 seconds. Get server-side props. Yeah. Which is, I think, yeah, it makes sense, right? Because if you're talking about this single use case, but then like you're saying, your deployment provider must support edge caching, dynamic responses, reducing JavaScript. Okay, this doesn't tell me how to deploy though.
I know I've kind of got a little bit stuck there as well.
Oh, the easiest way to deploy Next.js is to use the Vercel platform.
Well, that would, I mean, this is obvious because this is how they make money as a company. So
Okay, sign up for Vercel. After signing up, you go grab an import project from under get repo. Once signed up, blah, 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 import. Okay. I'm gonna see if I can deploy it not on Vercel.
I mean, so there is an option to do static HTML, which you're going to do what you like with.
Really?
I'm guessing, yeah, I'm trying it right now. I'm guessing that Netlify probably just replicates loosely as well. Well, yeah.
How? Because how can, if you do this backend request and authentication, like what happens?
I guess there's some limitations, but yeah.
Oh my God. I feel like there's no way they could support this.
Don't know. Depends. I get the feeling there's going to be some limitations. Yeah, you can also use Netlify by the looks of it, unsurprisingly. Yeah, next export, which is the command, is intended for scenarios where none of your pages have server-side or incremental data requirements. So yeah, it's basically you're replicating Gatsby or Jekyll or something in Next. That's it. You're not getting any of the fancy stuff.
Yeah.
But that's fine. That's expected. I mean, that's what you'd expect.
My prediction is that they will choose one direction or the other, and probably in the dynamic direction, unless this is like a very core part of the bundling process.
It's interesting as well though, because actually the build command gave me a good error to show that what I wanted to do wasn't possible. Image optimization.
Do you want to broadcast?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's not too much to look at, but for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to do the same. Move you out the way. Yeah, that's my screen. Oops. Yeah. So image optimization using Next.js default loader is not compatible with Next export. Possible solutions using Next Start, etc., etc. So that makes sense. Yeah. Which at least it gave me a reasonable error message, not just, you know.
The developer experience on this is the best we've seen, I think.
It is pretty good.
Yeah.
I would be interested to know like where the gaps between beginner and advanced drop off a bit, and I've already spotted a couple. So for example, this command here doesn't actually work because we haven't installed the next command line tool, and nothing here tells me to install it, but you can then prefix it with npx and it will work. But anyone in this kind of ecosystem will know that's the case, but that's something that's a little lacking there. It doesn't tell me I need to install it anywhere, but yeah, it's a minor thing. If you're getting to this level, you probably know what you're doing. But and to be honest with you, I'm not even sure where I install it. I'm not actually seeing anything that tells me where to install it.
Well, npx usually will install the command if it doesn't exist, which is cool.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem to have. I'm not sure.
Well, I see. Yeah. So npx next didn't work.
No. Oh yeah, that worked. Yeah, but without it, it didn't work. Yeah. So that worked.
Yeah, npx is a newer thing that just kind of showed up. Yeah.
I'm familiar with it. It's just 3 extra letters, man.
Yeah, here we are complaining.
It's interesting. So we're coming up to nearly an hour.
Export path map.
We should wrap up. I don't know. I'm kind of. I feel like this is another one of those ones, a bit like Sonic Pi last time, where I sort of want to dig in a bit more. Yeah, I'm looking at the migrating here. It's not telling me how to migrate from anything I use, but and actually, I mean, the templating stuff is very different, I think. I mean, if I drill back into the pages, this is actually not accurate. I updated this, so let me just reopen that. Yeah,
I think it is perfect, a great solution for the intended use case of creating content sites.
Yeah.
And I think it has a dream of being more. Like, I think it has a dream of being an iteration of like Node or something. And I don't know, that part is questionable. But I like that dream too. So I like it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a plan to build a content site in the future. I think I'd also hesitate to move to this directly, I think, because I think I'd just rather just use Markdown or something.
Well, but this can be Markdown. This is what I'm actually just wondering, because I'm wondering how the templating works. So this has Markdown files in posts, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's really up to you to yeah, so you use Remark. It uses whatever Markdown renderer you want to use.
Oh, interesting. So, it just uses a Mark. So this is like Gatsby's approach. Yeah. So it just.
Yeah, but it's literally an implementation of Gatsby, though. You get to choose the Markdown renderer.
Which I like in some respects because it's purer in some ways.
Yeah.
I just write in Markdown. I don't have to worry about creating. Well, I have to create a very loose layout. But the only problem I foresee is because you offset everything to npm modules, you stand the risk of running into lots of potential bugs in the rest of the ecosystem. It's like Next might be great, but then if you're using lots of other external npm modules to do a lot of the functionality, you're also dependent on them working and being compatible and all this kind of thing. That's where I have run into issues, even with React as well. And I ran into issues with Gatsby as well. It's like, use this thing, and then you go and it doesn't work anymore, and no one's updated it, and you kind of, well, now what do I do?
It's hard to start an entire ecosystem.
Exactly. It's hard to Remark is pretty trustworthy and reliable, but there'll be others as you go further down where you're kind of like, I don't know, what do you do now?
Or how about this? How does Remark render a link? Because imagine you want to link from one page to another, you have to use the link component. That means in Remark you probably have to override the anchor tags to render. You see what I mean?
So this is actually taking relatively normal templating with curly brackets and things. It's actually not that different. I'm guessing, and then down here somewhere is content. Yeah, return the post.
Can you search this Markdown to HTML? Yeah, can you search for Remark in this repo?
In what way?
Just type Remark into the GitHub search bar. Yeah, and then it'll give you just in this repo. I want to see the function.
Ugh, I must have in that folder already, didn't I? It's like a lot of them use it, which makes sense. A lot of them will provide.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm curious how they handle the linking when you have to use that React component to do links. They must have to override the renderer.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, probably. To get the routing. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hard to say, but probably. And metadata.
My theory on this is like, this reminds me of React Native. It's like React Native for the web, kind of.
Yeah.
But I think that for React Native, like, there's not very many other options. Like, if you look at the market, it's damn hard to build it's hard to build a mobile app in JavaScript, right? So React Native is like a really solid thing to learn because it's more performant and there's nothing else in the market. With this, you can build. There's many ways to build static site generation, and a lot of them are easier than this.
Yeah,
right.
True.
There's a million different ways. So I think it's
more. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be harder for them to really own the market because you're asking a lot of learning, I think, and also like you're saying, customization.
Maybe, although they're doing fairly well at it. I would be interested to know if they're. Oh, here, showcase. Let's see. Um,
Yeah, they said they had 10,000,
yeah.
and TikTok is on there. So
I'm guessing this is the portfolio site, not TikTok itself. Or maybe. I don't know. Hard to say. I don't know, I'm sure.
they've got GitHub Copilot, TikTok. Yeah,
That one, but I think that's just the marketing pages, not
the
the.
landing pages. Yeah,
So
yeah.
like this, but then it's pulling in data from somewhere and things like that, basically, I guess. So this I'm assuming is this page, not Copilot.
Yeah,
Well,
and
maybe
then why is this in Next.js,
probably just
right?
because the developers like it, I guess. Although actually, oh no, sorry, ignore me. This is
Because it's not. This is not even
I think it's just
a blog, right? It's a single
yeah,
static page. So what
yeah,
is it?
it's
Why?
reasonable, yeah.
Yeah.
When I have signed up for the preview of this, we should add it to our list. I've heard some controversial opinions. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. It's. I think a lot of the Ticketmaster loading in like ticket data and stuff. That would be interesting.
Mm.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
Uh,
this is more of a customer list than a showcase, really, because it's hard to know if is all of Ticketmaster on this.
I don't know. And like Elastic,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot. That would be maybe their documentation, things like that. I mean, all the documentation is probably something different because documentation people tend to like different sorts of tools. But this is often the case. People often have different components in different packages. And this is a modern way, and it's totally fine and expected. Yeah. It's obviously interesting as well because unlike old school CMSs, it's hard to really prove that these sites are made that way.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. You can see it here. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah, you
you can see
can.
it. Next.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see it here definitely. Yeah. That actually
Cool.
doesn't hide it very much at all. I don't know if it also adds a generator somewhere. There's lots of preload, all sorts of things. Yeah, I think this is fairly obvious.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, anyway, it's interesting. It's one of those ones I kind of would like to play around with, especially as a disclaimer. I do have a friend who works for Vercel, and he's frequently tweeting like, "I just made a site in 5 minutes for this thing," and obviously it's in his
Yeah.
interest to do that, but I'm kind of interested to see what I could use, something like somewhere between. Like next time I have a basic site to create or something, I might give it a go. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of interested. Yeah, it worked very well. We didn't really hit any problems, which is always good. It mostly makes sense. um, yeah, I'm kind of interested to try some more, but I'm also slightly overwhelmed at the same time, which is
Yeah,
not a
that's
bad
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
It's like Sonic Pi though. I'm overwhelmed in a good way. I want to go and play with it, and I'm kind of
Yeah.
more irritated and overwhelmed that I probably won't find the time to play with it.
Mhm.
I think that's more the thing. Yeah. All right. So if you're interested, that's nextjs.org. Pretty easy to remember. You can do a lot for free. I think there's that push to get you to use Vercel for hosting and or whatever it's. Is it still Vercel now? I don't think they called it. Yeah, and the
Yeah.
pricing there is probably fairly generous. Yeah, you can do a reasonable amount for free, and then you're basically paying for organization type features, deploying from GitHub organizations, etc., team members, multiple concurrent builds, password protection, bunch of stuff like that. But for
Mhm.
hobby projects, you can do a lot for free if you want to take it to that next level. So yeah, I might be interested in trying that instead of my obvious thing of reaching for like a traditional SSG
Yeah.
and Netlify. I might try it next time. I'm not sure what that project's going to be quite yet, but I might try something. Yeah. Anyway, what are your final thoughts, Ian? I think we've summarized fairly well. What's your final thoughts?
My final thought is that it is like the power static site generator.
Mm, 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 mm.
Yeah, and I think
And it,
again, I think there's this dream of React backend, like finally solving the like you ever looked at a really large code base based on Express, it gets really messy.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think they're
yeah,
trying to like kind of like sales give it some structure. And I think that there's a dream there. And I would I would bet if you looked at their investment decks, like they're like pitching that this is going to be like the next like Node.js
yeah.
like
It's interesting
framework.
as well because Netlify does do this, but Netlify does it through bits and pieces. So
Mm,
it doesn't have any framework itself. It supports other frameworks, and then you have to add a lot of this through its features or its now app
mm,
marketplace and stuff like that. Whereas Next and Vercel are kind of like, here's the whole package altogether. You have to kind of be up for that,
yeah,
but then you get everything in one place, and that's maybe the negative of it is it's kind of you have to kind of just go all in.
yeah,
I'm guessing
totally.
you can use Vercel with other things, but yeah, you sort of have to go all in on it, I guess. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm interested to try. I need to find a test project. So cool. All right. How can people stay in touch with you, Ian?
You can find me on Twitter at Ian Jennings, and the E is a 3, or haxor.sh, haxor.sh. How about you?
What's Hacksaw built in?
WordPress. Yeah.
Okay. You can find me at Christian on Twitter and christianchiller.com. And that is built in Jekyll still for some time.
WordPress.
I
The
will
front
change
end is
it one day
WordPress,
soon.
and the back end is sales. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Cool. All right. Do you want to sign us off?
signing off. That's developers, otherwise known as Devx5. You can find us in 2 weeks, where I think we should do the name of the other company. I keep forgetting. The competitor to Vercel.
Netlify.
Netlify. Yeah, I think we should try Netlify in 2
We
weeks.
could. I'd have to
Yeah.
try and wipe my brain of the years I've been using it, but yes.
Yeah. Well, I can do it. I can do it. And you can
Yeah,
just
no,
laugh
for
at me.
sure. And
Yeah.
actually, I'm pretty sure I could probably get a guest from them if we wanted to
Yeah.
as
Okay.
well. So, cool. All right.
Cool.
Yeah, please, if you enjoyed, subscribe, leave a comment, thumbs up, and yeah, see you in 2 weeks at 15:30, 3:30 p.m. UTC for another Devx5.
Yep.
See
All
you.
right.